I grew up in Springfield, Ohio, which has been on the news lately a lot, which has been kind of crazy to hear my hometown on national television all the time. It's been pretty wild, but my folks are exactly. My folks are still there, divorced, but my sister's there, dad's there. He's remarried, my mom's remarried, but so and I have lots of friends still, so I've been keeping up with what's going on there. But I grew up in Springfield. I think Life magazine did a feature on our town in the 1960s, and it was like the idea of the article was that it was kind of the quintessential all-American town with, you know, diversity and people from different sides of the tracks, and sort of a snapshot of the heart of America, as it were, you know. And so I felt like I grew up in kind of a quintessential all-American town. Had a little bit of everything.
So growing up, mom and dad, they were together?
Yeah, they got divorced when I was 22, but yeah, our family, I would say, for the most part, was pretty solid. I don't really like look back and think like, oh, I developed an addiction to alcohol because of anything in my family. I mean, I can identify some alcohol abuse for sure, in certain sections of the family, but like holidays, we're talking about Thanksgiving. It's like holidays at my grandparents' house on my mom's side, especially, were great. It was like the whole family would come, and it was this big celebratory event, and I loved that. I loved being around family and just the warmth of Christmas time and Thanksgiving and having everybody together. I still love big family events for the most part. It can get difficult sometimes with extended family and stuff, but yeah, I had a good childhood. There wasn't alcoholism in my home, but I was pretty aware. Like I mentioned my grandfather, and he's a big part of my story because I kind of idolized him. He was a super cool guy. He was a great storyteller. He would talk about growing up in the Great Depression on a farm in Ohio, and then of course we were always proud of his service for our country, and that he fought in World War II. And he would joke around and say he shot Hitler's mustache off when he was over in the war. So, just like I just adored this guy, as did everybody in the family. And he was the kind of guy where, like, my grandmother would go, "Oh, George hasn't had a drink in 30 days. He's doing so well." And then I'd be doing my homework. They had a bar in the middle of a nice house and a bar in the middle of it. And I would sit behind there and do my homework. It was kind of like a square. It was big. And he'd come behind there and he'd have his non-alcoholic beer. And as my grandmother was saying, he hadn't had a drink in 30 days. He'd pull the plastic bottle of Kamchatka vodka from behind the corner, and he'd wink at me, and he'd pour some of the vodka in the non-alcoholic beer. And I'd just be like, and so he's this beautiful guy, that I adored, but he's kind of like setting the tone for me as like, well, if I want to be like him, then like I gotta drink, and I gotta kind of sneak it too. And it's normal to enjoy it. And I had some of my first drinks. They would go away on vacation for like months at a time down to Florida or North Carolina, and my friends would go over there in high school and, you know, steal booze from the bar basically and have little parties. And that's kind of where I had some of my first drinks. But in that sense, it just felt totally normal and the thing to do. And when I go back to Springfield now, I look around and people drink there a lot. It's in the Midwest. It's very normalized. It's normalized in my family. My family was full of the events where like people had a drink in their hand. No one was falling down or getting in fights or calling the cops, but like alcohol was always there.